الحمد لله وحده والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم. أما بعد، قال شيخ سليمان بن سليم الرحيلي حفظه الله ورعاه، وقد قال ابن عمر رضي الله عنهما. قال شيخ سليمان بن سليم الرحيلي حفظه الله ورعاه، قال: الأصل الخامس من فقه الفتن لزوم جماعة المسلمين وإمامهم، فالجماعة رأس الخير، ولا جماعة إلا بالإمام، والفرقة رأس الشر. فعن حذيفة بن يمان رضي الله عنه يقول: كان الناس يسألون رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم عن الخير، وكنت أسأله عن الشر مخافة أن يدركني، فقلت: يا رسول الله عليه الصلاة والسلام، إنا كنا في جاهلية وشر، فجاءنا الله بهذا الخير، فهل بعد هذا الخير شر؟ قال: نعم. فقلت: هل بعد ذلك الشر من خير؟ قال: نعم، وفيه دخن. قلت: وما دخنه؟ قال: قوم يستنون بغير سنتي ويهدون بغير هدي، تعرف منهم وتنكر. فقلت: هل بعد ذلك الخير من شر؟ قال: نعم، دعاة على أبواب جهنم، من أجابهم إليها قذفوه فيها. فقلت: يا رسول الله، صفهم لنا. قال: نعم، قوم من جلدتنا ويتكلمون بألسنتنا. قلت: يا رسول الله، فما ترى إن أدركني ذلك؟ قال: تلزم جماعة المسلمين وإمامهم. فقلت: فإن لم تكن له جماعة ولا إمام؟ قال: فاعتزل تلك الفرق كلها، ولو أن تعود على أصل شجرة حتى يدركك الموت وأنت على ذلك. رواه البخاري ومسلم. وقد قال ابن عمر رضي الله عنهما خطب معاوية قال: من كان يريد أن يتكلم في هذا الأمر فليطلع لنا قرنه، فلنحن أحق به منه ومن أبيه. قال حبيب بن مسلمة: فهلا أجبته؟ قال عبد الله: فاحللت حبوتي وهممت أن أقول: أحق بهذا الأمر منك من قاتلك وأباك على الإسلام، فخشيت أن أقول كلمة تفرق بين الجمع وتسفك الدم ويحمل عني غير ذلك، وذكرت ما أعد الله في الجنان. قال حبيب: حفظت وعصمت. جزاكم الله خير.
الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلوات الله وسلامه عليه. In continuation of our book Fiqh Al-Fitan by Shaykh Sulayman Ar-Ruhayli, Hafidhahullah, the Shaykh says, Al-Asl Al-Kham, the fifth foundation. We had read the first four foundations. From the things the Muslims must pay attention to during the times of fitan, the first asl he gave is Luzum Sunnah. Stick to the Sunnah during the times of fitna, wal hadaru min al umuri haditha, and being cautious of newly invented matters. So the fourth advice, the fourth ruling, in the time of fitna, stick to Sunnah. Avoid the newly invented matter. Hafizahullah. The second advice he gave regarding the usul the foundation, the basic rules with which a Muslim lives during the time of fitna. It says, Allah yunazi al-Muslimu al-Nusus bima yurid. Don't contradict the text of the Quran with your own desire. Don't employ your own desires to act and contravene the instructions of the Quran and the Sunnah. You want something, the Quran and the Sunnah say otherwise. Don't set aside the Quran and the Sunnah and then set ahead your own desires and follow it. Don't do so. During the times of fitna. The third advice he gave, the third apple he gave, Hafizahullah. It says, min fiqh al-fitani al-hirsu ala al-ilm. From the foundations that the Muslim must stick to during the times of fitna is al-hirsu ala al-ilm. Making good effort to learn. Seek knowledge. Whatever you want to do, you should know the ruling in Sharia. Seek knowledge during the time of fitna. Why? The agent of spreading fitna is ignorance. What helps fitna is ignorance. So you seek knowledge so that the wave of the ignorance of fitna does not take you along. If you look at it, you see during fitna, someone just said, let us go here, everybody say, let's go. Nobody will ask, why are we going there? Because common sense is lost during fitna. May Allah protect all of us. And that's why after fitna goes down, when people look back at what they had done during the times of fitna, they regret, how could I have done this kind of thing? Because in the time of fitna, common sense, good reasoning goes away. So during the time of fitna, seek to knowledge, search for knowledge. Don't spend your time following ignorant people. This was the third apple the Shaykh gave, Hafizahullah. The fourth apple he gave, it says, min fiqh al-fitan luzum al-ulama. Min fiqh al-fitan, from the basic rulings during the times of fitan is stick to the scholar, luzum al-ulama. You should be asking, what have the scholars say we should do? Stick to the scholars during the times of fitna. That was why Imam Abu Bakr al-Asram told us what happened during the time of Imam Ahmad. That when the Imam died, they started to see people come out with a lot of things. But when the Imam was alive, they can't come out. Why? Whenever they brought out a matter of fitna, the Imam will explain the vanity in what they have said. Whenever they came out with a position of fitna, the Imam will say, no, what you have said is wrong. This is the correct thing, this is the correct thing, this is the correct thing. So that's why we stick to the ulama. So the Sheikh says, Abu Bakr al-Asram, one of the students of Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal, when the Imam died, we now felt it more. Say, if this Imam was alive, so because Allah made the Imam a pillar for the Sunnah, by that he will affirm the Sunnah and he will explain and expose bid'ah and its people. So sticking to the ulama in the time of fitna is very important. The fifth apple, which is what we had started in the last class and we will continue with today, with the evidence for it, because when he mentions one apple, one foundation, he mentions the evidence. When he mentions one foundation, he mentions the evidence. Hafizahullah. The fifth foundation he gave us, he says, min fiqh al-fitan luzumu jama'at al-muslimin wa imami. Min fiqh al-fitan luzumu jama'at al-muslimin wa imami. From the rulings in the time of fitna is that luzumu jama'at al-muslimin, sticking to the generality of the Muslims wa imami and their leaders. Simply put, mayakba jama'ah. Stick to the generality of the Muslims. Jama'atul Muslimin. All the Muslims. Where are they? what is their position on this matter. Wa imamihim, and the leader of the Muslims. Stick to him. Don't break the jama'ah. Don't say in our own society this is what we will do. And that's why we try to explain the last class. When they say talzamu jama'at al-muslimin, it is not talking about society though. They are not talking there. They didn't say here stick to Ansarudin or Nawairudin or MSF. This is not what they are talking about. Àpapọ̀ gbogbo Mùsùlùmí àti olórí wọn. The generality of the Muslims and their leaders. Where are they? Stay where they are. He said, Hafizahullah, فَالْجَمَاعَةُ رَأْسُ الْخَيْرِ فَالْجَمَاعَةُ رَأْسُ الْخَيْرِ. When you are together, togetherness of the entirety of the people, رَأْسُ الْخَيْرِ, is one of the biggest means of attaining goodness. You want goodness? Don't bring furqa. Don't divide yourself. Be together. And you see, there are a lot of verses in the Quran and ahadith that will be fulfilling when we are together. The Prophet told us, alayhi salatu wasalam, says, وَكُونُوا عِبَادَ اللَّهِ إِخْوَانِ. All of you servants of Allah, all of you should be one single brother. So there should not be divided. I am Nasfar. The other one is Qarib. The other one is Ansaruddin. The other one is Nawairuddin. The other one is CMC. The other one is JMC. And then so on. Allah warned us regarding that. He says, وَلَا تَكُونُوا مِنَ الْمُشْرِكِينَ. Don't be like mushrikun. Hey Muslimi, má ṣe bí àwọn ọ̀ṣẹbọ. Kí làwọn ọ̀ṣẹbọ ṣe? فَرَّقُوا دِينَهُمْ وَكَانُوا شِيَعًا. They broke into parts. They broke their religion into parts. وَكَانُوا شِيَعًا, and they became groups. كُلُّ حِزْبٍ, every group, every party, بِمَا لَدَيْهِ فَرْحٌ, he is proud with what he has. So that's what we find. You see one group, one Muslim group will say we are better than the other group. The other group will say we are better than this group. This group will say we are better than this. Allah says, لَا تَكُونُوا مِنَ الْمُشْرِكِينَ. Don't be like that. وَلْتَكُمْ مِنْكُمْ أُمَّةً يَدْعُونَ إِلَى الْخَيْرِ. You all should be one single ummah, inviting to what is good and forbidding what is evil. So al-jama'atu ra'sul khayr. When we are together, every kind of goodness will come to us. وَلَا جَمَاعَةَ إِلَّا بِإِمَامٍ. And we cannot say we are together as a group except that we have one person who is our leader. The Muslims, we must always have a leader. He says, Hafizahullah, وَالْفُرْقَةُ رَأْسُ الشَّرْعِ. Likewise, dividing ourselves into the groups that we have divided ourselves into now, رَأْسُ الشَّرْعِ. It is the biggest means to evil. So some Muslims say we agree, some other Muslims say we don't agree. Some Muslims say no, we accept. The others will say no, we don't accept. Let me give us a very, very small example regarding our present circumstance. What is today's date in Rajab or Shaban? You see now. Are we in Shaban or in Rajab? Huh? Is today 1st of Shaban or 30th or 29th of Rajab? Today is 30th of Rajab. If we are not all agreed under a single leader, will be divided. Some of us will be saying Rajab, some of us will be saying Shaban. Why? Some countries of the world today, they have today as the first day of Shaban. In Malaysia today is the first day of Shaban. In Tunisia today is the first day of Shaban. But in Nigeria, because we have a leader, they too, it is the leaders in those communities that announce today is like this. So let's know where we say our about our Tirosu Shiwa. One is more about Tirosu Nidika, Bobo Wanani. So they teach today the first day of Shaban. Some people say, no, we have a leader in this country amongst we Muslims that's in charge of that. So we all must follow him in that. So we say, no, today is the 29th of Rajab and not, today is 30th of Rajab and not the 1st of Sha'ban. If we don't have a leader, a lot of difference will happen. And that's how we will carry this difference on to how we start Ramadan. Some people say we have a meeting, today is Ramadan. Tomorrow is not Ramadan. 3 days ago is Ramadan. Next tomorrow is Ramadan. And the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he has placed this matter as a communal matter. The matter of starting a fast or ending a fast is a community matter. It's not a matter that individuals have decisions over. The leader has to tell us, start fasting or break your fast. The Messenger alayhi salatu wasalam, he says, as-sawmu yawma yasumun nas. As-sawmu yawma yasumun nas. Wal-fitru yawma yuftiru. As-sawmu yawma yasumun. As-sawm, the accepted fast, is yawma yasumun nas. It will start on the day that the generality of the people start their fast. So it's not permissible for a group of Muslims to say, I want to one Grand Committee of our Jamaica Southwest At-Tibyān. It's not that. The fast that is accepted is the fast that all the people fast. Their leader says, start fast tomorrow. They start fast. Why was it that in the time of the Messenger alayhi salatu wasalam, when the moon was sighted, they first of all went to him? Wasn't that the case? Abdullah ibn Umar told us that in the hadith, Tara an-nas al-hilal. So, the people were variously searching for the moon. When they saw it, they went to the Messenger alayhi salatu wasalam, who told Bilal, oh yeah, announce. It was not an issue that every person had a position. Even the one who saw the moon, al-Sahih, is not to start fasting by himself because of that first hadith. As-sawmu yawma yasumun nas. Fasting starts on the day that the people start to fast. And the people will not start fasting until their leaders tell them to start fasting. So, al-furqatu ra'su ash-sharr. When we are divided, we are not together under one imam. A lot of evils will come. We'll be arguing, we'll be dissenting, we'll not agree with ourselves. فَتَفْشَلُوا وَتَذْهَبَ رِيحُكُمْ. We'll become weak amongst ourselves. And then our enemy can do what they like with us. So in the time of fitna, if this is what it should be ordinarily, then it is more stricter, so to speak. It is stricter in the times of fitna. The generality of the Muslims don't go away from what they do and stay in the times of fitna, unless there's a command from that leader to do something that the Prophet himself has prohibited us. That's the restriction. Imagine that the Muslim leader comes and says, all the Muslims, the price of fuel is 212 naira. Tomorrow we are going to demonstrate against the government of this. He comes out to say that we will not follow it. We will not follow. Why? La ta'ata lil makhluq fi ma'siyati. There is no giving obedience to somebody that is created in disobedience to the one who has created all things. And the Rasul of the one who has created all things, alayhi salatu wasalam, he has prohibited us from rising against a leader, even when he becomes unjust. Only a chance to be patient. Don't rise against the leader. Be patient. So if one leader comes to tell us, hey, now we are going to do this, and that thing is wrong, in the Quran and the Sunnah, we go back to our first advice. Luzumul kitabi wa sunnah. Stick to the kitab. Fitina leleyo. This is fiqh. We stick to the kitab and sunnah. We will not leave. We'll come back to that in this hadith. So the Shaykh says, Hafizahullah, min fiqh al-fitan luzumu jama'at al-muslimin wa imamihim wal jama'atu ra'sul khayr wa la jama'ata illa bi imamin wal furqatu ra'sul shar wal furqatu ra'sul shar. Different opinions and varying. It is the head of evil too. It is what, when it comes ahead, all other evils will follow it. You begin to argue. You even kill yourself. May Allah protect. That's when you see two Muslim parties. One holds sword, the other holds sword. You see them fighting themselves. Why? Because of al-furq. Depends. So he wants to give us an evidence why during fitan we all should stick to Jama'atul Muslimin. He wants to give us an evidence for this point. So the Shaykh says, Hafizahullah, فَعَنْ حُذَيْفَةَ ibn al-Yaman رضي الله عنهما يقول, Hudhayfa ibn al-Yaman, he said, he reported to us, رضي الله عنهما, himself and his father, they were companions. يقول, he would say, كان الناس يسألون رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم عن الخير. The companions, the people, كانوا يسألون رسول الله عن الخير. They would ask the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم about good. How do I make nawafil? How do I enter Jannah? How do I, and all of them. They were asking the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam about good deeds. He says, رضي الله عنه, وكنت أسأله عن الشر مخافة أن يدركني. But I used to ask him about evil. People used to ask about good. So he would ask about evil. There are a lot of comments from the ulama regarding this. It was not as if nobody was asking the Prophet about evil except Hudayfa. They were also asking. Wasn't it that Mu'adh came to ask the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, tell me something, yuqarribuni min al-jannah wa yubaidni an-nar. Tell me what will bring me closer to al-jannah and put me away from Jahannam. He was asking about the two together. These kinds of questions were many. But what it meant was that usually, very regularly, people ask more questions regarding good things, while I also ask more questions regarding evil. It does not mean that nobody was asking about evil except me. But I used to ask more than everyone else. You will come to this meaning for this hadith when you go check other texts in the Quran and the Sunnah. So it says, وَكُنْتُ أَسْأَلُهُ عَنِ الشَّرِّ. So I was the one I used to ask the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam عَنِ الشَّرِّ, about evil. Why was he asking the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam about evil? He said it, مَخَافَةَ أَنْ يُدْرِكَنِي. I am afraid that evil can touch me. Ya Ustaz, here is today. If Hudhayfa ibn al-Yaman was afraid that evil can touch him, you should not think that evil cannot touch you. Fadila to Shaykh. Some of the people think that in the third day, the third sunnah day, oh, let's say sunnah ko barakata kata. You didn't hear about people like Imran ibn al-Fitan? You can do sunnah and then subsequently evil follows it. You begin to say nonsense. May Allah protect all of us. So that's why when you are upon the sunnah itself, you'll be begging Allah for sabah. Allah, keep my feet firm. رَبَّنَا لَا تُزِغْ قُلُوبَنَا بَعْدَ إِذْ هَدَيْتَنَا. Oh Allah, don't let our hearts go astray after you have guided us to that which is right. Always we ask for guidance. Why? Shaitan told Allah that he's going to stand on the road. لَأَقْعُدَنَّ لَهُمْ صِرَاطَكَ الْمُسْتَقِيمِ. I'm going to sit on that right path. Elsewhere it says, وَلَا تَجِدُ أَكْثَرَهُمْ شَاكِرِينَ. I will make sure that you don't find many of them to be grateful. That is the road you are upon when you are upon the Sunnah now. You are upon that road that Shaitan says he is going to sit down to wait for you. Does it not deserve down that you beg Allah for guidance when you are even upon that Sunnah? So have it in mind, Fadila to Shaykh. Be careful. Avoid the things that can make you become someone who has been misguided. If Huzaifa was afraid that, hey, I don't want to be misguided. Huzaifa ibn al-Yaman, sahibu sirri nabi alayhi salam. The person that the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam trusted so much that he used to tell him his own secrets. And the secrets regarding the matters in the Ummah. He will say, يَفْعَلُ عَنِ الشَّرِّ مَخَافَةَ أَنْ يُدْرِكَهُ وَكَيْفَ بِكَ يَا فَضِيلَةَ الشَّيْخ. How about you, Fadilat Shaykh Al-Allama? Fitna can catch you. May Allah protect all of us. The one that fitna does not catch is the one that Allah has protected, that himself also avoids fitna. So Hudayfa was afraid. You should be afraid more than 1,000 times. May Allah protect all of us. He says, فَقُلْتُ يَا رَسُولَ اللَّهِ. So I was asking, Messenger of Allah, إِنَّا كُنَّا فِي جَاهِلِيَّةٍ وَشَرٍّ. We were certainly upon Jahiliyyah. Absolute absence of knowledge. What kind of knowledge? Divine guidance. They were far away from anything from Allah to guide them. Kunna fil jahiliyyah. We were upon jahiliyyah, al-jahiliyyah al-amma, general jahiliyyah. Because what you can have now since the Prophet has come alayhi salatu wasalam is jahiliyyah khassa. You can't have jahiliyyah amma again. You can't have ojududu bobobo. No. You can have individual. You can't have general ignorance again. Why? Because wahy is available with us. So it remains for individuals to be guided upon wahy. So what will remain is that this one is guided, this one is not guided. This one is upon Jahiliyyah, this one is not upon Jahiliyyah. So in that circumstance, the Jahiliyyah is referred to be what? Khassa. Restricted to that person. There may be two, there may be three. Their Jahiliyyah is still khassatun bihim. It's still restricted to them. But as for al-Jahiliyyah al-Amma, the fact that Allah has revealed the Quran and sent Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam has removed it. So that was what Huzaifa was saying. Inna kunna fi jahiliyyatin wa sharrin. We were upon ignorance, stark ignorance and evil. فَجَعَنَ اللَّهُ بِهَذَا الْخَيْرِ. Then Allah brought this goodness to us. What is that goodness? The Quran and the Messenger alayhi salam. So they were all in ignorance. Al-Amma. Then Allah raised the Prophet Muhammad. That's why one of the worst things a Muslim will do to himself is to be far away from the guidance of the Quran. Let's move ahead because we have a lot of issues here, but we can proceed. He said, radiyallahu anhu, Ya Rasulallah, inna kunna fi jahiliyyatin wa sharr. We were upon absolute stark ignorance and evil. فَجَعَنَ اللَّهُ بِهَذَا الْخَيْرِ. And after that, Allah brought this goodness to us. It means Huzaifa ibn al-Yaman recognizes the virtue and the excellence of Islam. Atiwa lajuni. Allah fi Quran ati Sunnah fi lawaloji. So you Salafi Ahli Sunnah, be sure to remind yourself that this Sunnah you are upon is a virtue from Allah. Ore ni látọ̀dọ̀ Ọlọ́run. Wíwà lójú ọ̀nà Sunnah. Ore ni o, ore kan ni o. like Huzaifa was recognizing it. كنا في جاهلية وشر فجعلنا الله بهذا الخير. We were upon ignorance, then Allah brings this goodness to us. فهل بعد هذا الخير من شر? After this goodness that has spread, فهل بعد هذا الخير من شر? Will any evil come again? There is goodness now. Will this goodness continue, or some sort of evil will come again? He wants to know. Radiyallahu anhu. The Prophet said, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, now an evil will come. فقلت هل بعد ذلك الشر من خير? Evil will come, after that evil, will the khair come back again? So the ulama, al-Imam Qadi, he said that evil that will come, the first evil that will come in this ummah, is the killing of Uthman bin Affan. Radiyallahu anhu. When you kill Uthman bin Affan, he said so too, radiyallahu anhu. Uthman, he said, if you kill me, you will never be together again forever. Uthman Ibn Affan. This is a man that the Malaika are shy of. And the Malaika and Tijue. How do we know? The Messenger said to alayhi salatu. Al-Imam al-Bukhari reported a hadith in his book Al-Adab al-Mufrad regarding that. Abu Bakr as-Siddiq was said to have entered the house. The messenger was sitting in a particular way. He did not change his sitting. Omar came in. He did not change his sitting. Uthman knocked the door and asked for permission to come into the house. Radiyallahu anhu. And the messenger alayhi salatu wasalam changed his sitting and sat very well. You know the person who will ask a question, too? Who is it who will ask a question? Oh. Savior of Allah. When the rest of us came, you didn't change position. No? Now Uthman is coming, you are changing position. He said, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Allah astahi mimman yastahi minhu al-malaika. Will I not be shy from a man that the malaika they are shy of? And see àwọn òbílẹ̀jẹ́ pa ní o. Ẹ̀pẹ́ kípa ọ̀ràn ni. This was the man that the Khawarij killed, the forefathers of the Khawarij. Uthman, Dunurain. He has a name that nobody else has ever borne and nobody else can bear. Nobody else ever married two daughters of a messenger of Allah. And nobody can do it again because it has gone. He is Dunurain. When he was killed, this is the first shot in this ummah. Abu Ummah was they killed Uthman. Radiyallahu anhu. Uthman bin Affan. I wish that our brothers would be making lectures talking about Fadail Uthman, the virtues of Uthman. We can proceed. We should proceed. So that question was regarding Uthman bin Affan. فَهَلْ بَعْدَ هَذَا الْخَيْرِ مِنْ شَرٍ? Will there come an evil after this goodness that we have seen? Say yes. What is that evil? قتل Uthman bin Affan. The killing of Uthman bin Affan. رضي الله عنه. فقلت, Huzaifa said, رضي الله عنه, هل بعد ذلك الشر من خير? After that evil, will another good come again? Will another good come after that evil? The Prophet said, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Naam. After that evil, another good will come. So some amongst the scholars say the second good is the Khilafah of Umar ibn Abdul-Aziz. Others say no, before Umar ibn Abdul-Aziz. It was al-jama'ah, the coming together of two fi'ataini azimataini min al-muslimin, two huge armies amongst the Muslims. That was the army of who? Muawiyah bin Abi Sufyan and Ali bin Abi Talib. And the person who moved that goodness was who? Hassan ibn Ali ibn Abi Talib. They say this goodness is the second goodness. The first evil was the killing of Uthman. The goodness that came after it was what? Al-Jama'ah. Others say it was the goodness of Umar ibn Abdullah Aziz. But it appears that the goodness of the Jama'ah was more widespread, because it saved a lot of lives of many Muslims when those groups of Muslims came together. Allahu A'lam. So the Prophet said there will be good again. There will be good again. That's the good in the coming together of fi'ataini azimataini min al-muslimin. But he said, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, wa fihi dakhan. But that goodness, fihi dakhan. Dakhanun is smoke. So that goodness will have some smoke. In mineralogy, there is something we call smoke quartz. Smoky quartz. Quartz should be white and bright. But during metamorphism, some gases will be released that will make it take some colors. And those colors can be very fine, different colors. But the one we are talking about here is the smoky one, the dark color. So that usually comes from minerals with dark colors. They stain the quartz. It can also be very beautiful. But to be clear to you that this is a stain. So the goodness will be a goodness, but it will have dakhan. Fihi dakhan. Huzaifa ibn al-Yaman, radiyallahu anhuma, he says, وَمَا دَخَنُهُ. Messenger of Allah, what is that stain? What is the stain? What is the stain in the goodness? Tell me. Alayhi salatu wasalam, the Prophet said, qawmun. During that goodness, when the goodness, the Muslims are upon goodness, there will be a people. يَسْتَنُّونَ بِغَيْرِ سُنَّةِ. They will be following some lines of conduct different from my own. Ulama say those are the Khawarij, the Murji'ah, and the rest of the Firaq that emerged around that time, including the Shia. All of these people, يَسْتَنُّونَ بِغَيْرِ سُنَّةِ النَّبِيِّ عَلَيْهِ السَّلَامِ. They will be following lines of conduct different from the lines of the conduct of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. If not for that, how will you call someone a kafir when the Prophet loves him? The Prophet loves. The Quran mentions him. And then you say, no, that person was a kafir. Is it possible? So they will not be upon the sunnah of the Messenger alayhi salam. May Allah protect all of us. We can go on trying to mention that, but it will take our time. So let's quickly come back. This hadith, one of the scholars wrote an entire volume of book regarding it. In our time, a whole book regarding the hadith. This hadith of Huzaifa radiyallahu anhum says, قَوْمٌ يَسْتَنُّونَ بِغَيْرِ سُنَّتِي وَيَهْدُونَ بِغَيْرِ هَدِي. They will follow lines of conduct different from my own. وَيَهْدُونَ بِغَيْرِ هَدِي. And they will be guiding people upon something different from my guidance. They will follow different sunnah. They will follow different hadith, different guidance. تَعْرِفُ مِنْهُمْ وَتُنْكِرُ. You will be recognizing the good things they do. It will be clear. You will see them. You will recognize it. وَتُنْكِرُ. And you will be rejecting that this one is a sunnah. This one is not sunnah. This one is not sunnah. When you see them, when you see what they do, you will recognize it. And you'll be able to discern their sunnah from the evil they bring. Whatever they do. If they pray well, you will know. When they are not praying well, say this one, sumkir. This one is not sunnah. This one is not sunnah. This one is not. But these evils will overrun them. They will be the same inside the goodness that will be in the ummah, in the generality of the ummah. And when they know epo lara asoi al ummah. Why did the messenger say that they are dakhan? يَسْتَنُّونَ بِغَيْرِ سُنَّتِهِ وَيَهْدُونَ بِغَيْرِ هَدِيهِ. So each time you find a people يَسْتَنُّونَ بِغَيْرِ سُنَّةِ النَّبِيِّ عَلَيْهِ الصَّلَاةُ وَالسَّلَامُ وَيَهْدُونَ بِغَيْرِ أَهْدِي بغير هدي النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم فَعْرِفُوا. You should understand that whom would dakhan. One of the scholars, Al-Imam al-Zahabi, will refer to them as Aba Jahl. Each of them will be Abu Jahl. Says Abu Jahl. When you see the people of ignorance, know that they are Aba Jahl. Baba or Alai Makkah. Why? When you are Sunnah Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So what makes somebody to be ignorant is that he's rejecting the truth, he's contradicting the truth. So you are Sunnah, Abu Jahl in your. So when you see somebody contradicting the Sunnah, you should know that he is what? Abu Jahl. May Allah protect us. So that is the dakhan. فَقُلْتُ هَلْ بَعْدَ ذَلِكَ الْخَيْرِ مِنْ شَرٍ. After that goodness that will have a stain, will there be evil again? قَالَ نَعْمُ. After that stain, there will be good again. There will be evil again. After the general good that has a stain, there will now be another evil again. That is, the preponderance of evil will come again. And the Prophet said, and Huzaifa said, alayhi salatu wassalam, radiyallahu anhu, he says, هَلْ بَعْدَ ذَلِكَ الْخَيْرِ مِنْ شَرٍ. Will any evil come again after that khayr? قَالَ نَعْمُ. The Messenger alayhi salatu wasalam said, yes, another evil will come. How will that evil be? He said alayhi salatu wasalam, du'atun ala abwabi jahannam. Du'atun ala abwabi jahannam. Man ajabahum ilayha qadhafuhu fiha. Du'atun ala abwabi jahannam. Invite us. Àwọn olùpèpè tí wọ́n dúró létí bèbè náà. Invite us, people who are inviting to Jahannam. This was the time people like Jahm ibn Safwan came. And I think that manzuma by Al-Imam ibn al-Qayyim regarding Jahm ibn Safwan was picked from this hadith. What did he say regarding Jahm? عجبت لمن دعا الناس إلى النار. I am amazed at the one who is inviting the people to Jahannam. Istishqaq, that is etymology. واشتشق اسمه من جهنم. اشتقاق اسمه أو اشتقاق اسمه من جهنم. The drawing of his name is from Jahannam. That was Jahm ibn Safwan as-Samarqandi, the one who believes that Allah is just an idea. It's just one idea. Just believe that there is Allah. And he was inviting the people into it. So these are du'a to ala abwabi jahannam. Inviters, they are on the gates of fire. They are calling to come. And the Prophet said, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, man ajabahum ilayha qazafuhu fiha. Whoever answers them to that invitation, for the fuhu fiha, they will join them, they will haul him into the Jahannam. I've always been saying it. When the fitna started in northeast Nigeria, was it not some people inviting dawah, akramaka, dawah, sunnah, dawah? But it was just upon Jahannam. Look at where we have found ourselves. Many people lost their lives. Some young people say, we want to do jihad, we want to do. They went there, they lost their lives. Du'atun ala abwab jahannam. Man ajabahum ilayha qadhafuhu fiha. They are inviters upon the path of Jahannam. They may be anywhere. You will hear more about them. It says, Man ajabahum ilayha. Whoever answers them to that place where they are inviting him to, qadhafuhu fiha. They are the ones who will take their hands to join him in the Jahannam. Qadhafuhu. They will throw him, haul him into Jahannam. May Allah protect all of us. فَقُلْتُ يَا رَسُولَ اللَّهِ صِفْهُمْ لَنَا. Messenger of Allah, describe those inviters to us. You see Huzaifa's hirs. You see his crave for knowledge. Not just for knowledge. He has a strong craving not to be misled. Each of us has a duty to be sure that he is not misled. You have a duty to be sure that what I'm doing, I'm not misled. So he's asking the Prophet, how do we know? How do we see? Who will that be? How will that be? How will the circumstances be? And he's asking, not to makhafata and yudrikah. Because he does not want to become misled. So if you sit down there, you say, we don't know. They just told us. That will not protect you from the fire of Jahannam. So you have a duty to protect yourself. You have a duty to follow Afa Sunnah. Don't say, when you get to Jahannam with those people you are following, may Allah protect all of us, you will answer that question by yourself. There are many verses in the Quran regarding this. Let's proceed. If you become misled by anybody, you blame yourself. If you become misled by anybody, you blame yourself. The Prophet said, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, I will describe them to you. Now, I will describe them to you. Qawmun. They are a people. Min jildatina wa yatakallamuna bi alsinatina. Qawmun min jildatina. They are a people who are like us. Ulama say they are Muslims like us. Some say they are Arabs like us. But because what the Messenger alayhi salatu salam is talking about is from the matters of the deen, it means it is more general. They are Muslims like us. Min jildatina. They are Muslims like us. Like the Khawarij. They have very big beards. They never touch their beard. Khawarij, they never touch their beard. They never tell a lie. And they make a lot of adhkar. Did you hear what I said? Khawarij. They are known for that in this ummah. They make a lot of adhkar than anyone. Muljam, when he was killed, he was still making adhkar on his tongue. The one who killed Ali ibn Abi Talib. When he was killed, he was still making adhkar on his tongue. فَيَتَكَلَّمُونَ بِأَلْسِنَتِنَا Irun tan song la wọn o ma song. Irun tan song la wọn o ma song. Means that they are Muslims like us. Muslims maybe irun tiwa ina ni wọn. Àwọn náà mọ̀ sọ pé àdìsí Buhari. Wọ́n máa sọ. But they are inviters unto Jahannam. May Allah protect all of us. We all have a duty to make sure that we are not misled. فَقَوْمٌ مِّن جِلْدَتِنَا, there are people who are like us, Muslims like us. وَيَتَكَلَّمُونَ بِأَلْسِنَتِنَا, and they will be speaking like us. With the same tongue we speak. That is the same tongue with which they will speak. They too, they will be quoting Quran. But they may not cite the Quran correctly. And I have seen this a lot. People will be citing verses of the Quran and they will be interpreting the opposite of what that verse says. People will be citing ahadith, especially those ahadith will be da'ifa and mawdu'a, but they will like it, they will take it. If you cite to them that this hadith is sahih, but this one you are quoting is mawdu', they say no, hadith is hadith. How can hadith be hadith? How can hadith be hadith? يَتَكَلَّمُونَ بِأَلْسِنَتِنَا, they will be speaking like us. May Allah protect all of us. قُلْتُ يَا رَسُولَ اللَّهِ, Huzayf ibn al-Yaman, he didn't say, okay, I have not understood. I have now understood it. Many of us would have done that today. Because in this our generation, we trust our intellect so much. Unfortunately, the problem is a divine issue. We knew it from revelation. The appropriate thing is that the answer to should be known from how? From revelation. So some people will just say, so that's how they are. He'll be looking out for people by himself. What Huzayf ibn al-Yaman was interested in, he was asking the Prophet Muhammad, Messenger of Allah, فَمَا تَرَى إِنْ أَدْرَكَنِي ذَلِكَ, مَا تَرَى إِنْ أَدْرَكَنِي ذَلِكَ. If that meets me, what should I do? Tell me what to do. When I see them, tell me how to distinguish from those people. The Prophet said, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, تَلْزَمُ جَمَاعَةَ الْمُسْلِمِينَ وَإِمَامَهُمْ. تَلْزَمُ جَمَاعَةَ الْمُسْلِمِينَ وَإِمَامَهُمْ. This is a point of reference in this hadith. Stick to the generality of the Muslims and the leader. This one says like this, one says like this, one says like this. Hey, where is the Amir of the Muslims? What did he say? Stay there. Stick to the generality of the Muslims and their Imam. Don't join Awede, Kelebe. What does Yoruba refer to as Kelebe? We. Don't join MSS. Don't join all those Parugin, Korib, Nafak, all these societies. Don't join them. Kelebe, you want? Be a Muslim. That's all. When they ask you, Kenya, you will not be thinking, which was the answer? You have two answers. So the king can make you. If someone says, what are you now? You can say, I'm a Sarudin. Don't they say so? See what it's about? Senior, NFS. Senior, Karim. Senior, Nasfa. All these answers are about me. But when they say senior, Muslim, you are the one who has an answer. If you want to clean that answer, the more senior Onisunna Nabi, Omalaya Nabi. You see all of that ding. You are ascribing yourself to people that ma anzalallahu biha min sulh. You can ascribe yourself to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, but you can't ascribe yourself to any other human being. You are saying you're a Christian. Christianity is an ascription to what? To Christ. Judaism is an assistant to what? To a tribe. Zoroastrianism is an assistant to what? Zoroaster, an individual. Hinduism is an assistant to the individual. Buddhism is an assistant to the individual. Buddha. Why should a Muslim become ascribed to an individual or to a people other than the Prophet Muhammad? Ejekoni wope Muslimi. And the way to ascribe yourself to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, only sunnah name. No, it's no any other definition. Nobody can say about Ansar being sunnah, only sunnah name. Sunnah Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So you are either saying Muslimin nimi or you are saying that only sunnah nimi. Muslimin nimi is a general answer. Only sunnah nimi is a specific answer. If you bring any other specificity to it, it is misguidance. Masun Surah Reman Kakama. Al-Imam Malik, Al-Imam Shafi'i in Al-Islam, he brought an asar from Al-Imam Malik rahimahullah. He was asked, who is it that we will refer to as a person of Sunnah? Who is that person? The person of Sunnah. He said rahimahullah, the one who, after we look at the entirety of his life, we cannot ascribe him to anything except the Sunnah. We look at his Aqidah, we look at his Salah, we look at his Ibadah, we look at his Mu'amala, we look at his lifestyle, his family, the way he lives his life. I mean, no, you can't say any other thing for this person than that. Only Sunnah. Only Sunnah, yes. But you, when they start checking your files, there are many things there. That is not an appropriate thing to do. It's not an appropriate ascription to make. So the Prophet said, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Talzamu jama'at al-Muslimin. Speak to the generality of the Muslim wa imama and their leader. Huzaifa wanted to ask another question. It has not ended. It says, رضي الله عنه, فإن لم تكن لهم جماعة. Tí o bá sí generality oníkálukú tá ń ṣe ti ẹ̀ nígbà náà as we do now, largely. I will not be surprised if some people come and say, oh, for us, our own Shaban is, they give a date. In the last like 10, 15 years, Doctor, Doctor is professor now. So if I say Doctor, I have made a mistake. I'm correct. But I have not appropriately described him. He is Professor Abu Abdullah. No matter. They used to say Abu, ten Ferrari. Emma, Professor Batubaya, Dr. Abu Abdullah, Professor Abu Abdullah. What Emma to us? After my ebony. About 10, 12, 13 years ago, there was a man in this country, southwest Nigeria. If he does not see the moon by himself like this, he will not start Ramadan. The reason I called off was that I'm sure he will know that person. If he does not see the moon like this, he will not start fasting. If he does not see the moon like this, he will not break his fast. Because he thinks that the messenger said, alayhi salatu wasalam, Sumu irubiyah, waftiru irubiyah. And I've not seen this kind of Zahiriyah before. Real Zahiriyah. But Zahiriyah too, they are not upon that. Otherwise, all the companions who were living in villages that the Messenger alayhi salatu wasalam used to send messages to, start fasting. All of them would have been saying, Messenger, please, we will not start fasting because we have not sighted the moon with our own eyes. But what led to that is dissenting from the generality of the Muslims. Don't dissent from the generality of the Muslims. Don't dissent. Ilzam jama'at al-Muslimin wa imama. Stick to the generality of the Muslims and their leader. فَإِنْ لَمْ تَكُنْ لَهُمْ جَمَاعَةٌ وَإِمَامٌ. When there is no jama'ah and imam, The Prophet said, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, فَاعْتَزِلْ تِلْكَ الْفِرَقَ كُلَّهَا. Don't join anyone. Don't join any deen. Don't join anywhere. Don't join anybody. One day someone called me. Ustaz, salam alaikum, wa alaikum salam. He said, one of his, I think, sisters or cousins or daughters, I wouldn't remember. He said, Inu jama ilo amodo mi jama ni legbe kakari dedele. I even wrote it in my wasiyah. I wrote it in my wasiyah. I have never started one society, and I don't belong to any society. Still as I teach, and the Bismillah, Allah will make me die upon that. I belong to the generality of the legbe to segbe. After this teaching, you have one secretary calling you to come and do something. Just come and learn Islam and go. No strings attached. No strings attached. Learn your religion and go. One level come out, one level come out, pada. One level pada. Subhanahu wa ta'ala. When we started this halqa, one level come out, one level come out, pada. One level pada. I want to ti gbàgbé. Sábàbí wọ́n lè ó kọ́tẹ́ ẹ̀lẹ̀ mọ́ wá ń lòyìn kí ni wọ́n ti gbàgbé. Ìgbà tí ẹmọ̀ tí ẹni tó bá ṣú mọ́ ń gbàgbé ni. Àwọn ò gbàgbé. Ọlọ́run ó pa yín nírọ́. Òkúrọ́ ní. Fa'tazil tilka al-firaqa kullaha. The Messenger alayhi salatu wa salam told Hudayfa ibn al-Yaman, when there is no single leader for all the Muslims, whether in the region or in the community, don't join anyone, don't join any group, don't be anywhere. Don't give your allegiance to any human being. Your allegiance is for Allah and His Messenger. It says, فَاعْتَزِلْ تِلْكَ الْفِرَقَ كُلَّهَا. Muhammad is saying, why need your kakate? It's a common question in Ibadan and environment. Ẹjọ́ kí ló kọ jàmáà tí iná kò níjọ ni. Níjọ kankan. Ìyẹn pé níjọ kankan níjọ. Tẹ́lú ti gbọ́ ọ̀rọ̀ rẹ̀ yìí, it's a very common thing in Ibadan. Ẹ wá kí ló kọ jàmáà yìí o? Kò sí kankan kan gbọ́ wà sí àná. Ẹ wá kò sí lọ́dọ̀ kan gbọ́ wà sí àná lẹ́yìn. Sọ ìgbà kò níjọ ní ìgbà náà. Wọ́n sàfẹ́ sọ ló kọ́. Kò ní ìjọ àkéwà jẹ́. Ìjọ kò ní ìjọ. Tí ẹ bá sọ bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ́dọ̀ ẹ tó lọ́pọlọ yóò mọ̀ pé ẹ tó sọ yẹn ó kù díẹ̀ káàtó fún un. Ìjọ kò ní ìjọ. Tí ọlọ́pọlọ bá gbọ́ yóò mọ̀ pé ẹ tó ń sọ sí ìyẹn yẹn nǹkan kan kù díẹ̀ ó nídìí. Former vice chancellor iléèwé tí mo ti jáde ìní sọkọ rẹ̀ ó ní kí bàbá yẹn ó yẹ̀ wò. Kí ló kọ rẹ̀? Rogers Makanjuola. Ó ní ìdí Rogers Makanjuola. He was a professor of psychiatry. Don't join any group, oh brother. Don't join anybody in any group. Anybody who invites you to a group, tell him that the Prophet said, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, that ilzam jama'at al-muslimin wa imamah. He will not say, where's the jama'ah of the Muslims? Say, okay. He said again that when there is no jama'ah, an a'tazila tilka al-firaqa kullaha. I should abandon gbogbo àwọn ìjọ tẹ́ni wà. Ànábì ní kí n pa wọ́n sí alayhi salatu wa salam. He said, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, to be like that will be hard, oh, ikhwa. Kò ṣe é fẹ́nu ṣe o. The masjid where I observed Salatul Jummah, the imam in that masjid was complaining. And as I listen, I say, I can complain here. You are part of the problem. Say, we Muslims, we are divided. Ansari, Nawazi, this is it. He was complaining bitterly, and you will see that it was paining him. He gave an instance that somebody died. They brought the relatives came to him and said, please, can we bury this dead corpse in Ansaruddin's burial ground? He now said, call the secretary. Ask the secretary. He said he knew the answer that the secretary will give. They said, call the secretary. When they called the secretary said, which branch of the Ansaruddin is it? Ansaruddin said, then you can't bury him in our burial ground. The Imam said it yesterday. What is yesterday's date? Day before yesterday. Friday, 12th of March, at the Ansaruddin Masjid al-Jum'ah of Ansaruddin at after estate by the right near Moye Oil. I have given you this nut. Go there. Yes, Abū Nāsir ló sọ. Gbogbo ẹ̀ tó wá kírun bẹ́ẹ̀ yóò sọ tí mo sọ yìí. That was why I observed Juma last Juma. He said when the man went to the secretary said, if it is not Ansaruddin, we can't bury him in Ansaruddin burial ground. Ẹ wá ní ẹ̀yà àlùmọ̀ pa ẹ̀yà lọ́tọ̀. Is he Muslim? So he said the person came back to him and said, Imamu, they said because it's not Ansaruddin, they can't bury him in the burial ground. He said, I knew, the Imam said that, he told that man that he knew that that was the answer. But if I told you, you will feel surprised that why am I saying that kind of thing. So I want you to hear it from the mouth of the person who can tell you that. How many Muslim groups are doing that? Do they observe each prayers together? They don't. Do they bury one another? So he was complaining badly. The Muslims are now divided. I wanted to say to you too, you are part of the division. You are part of it. So if you now ask, if we want to name our mosque, how do we name it? I say, they used to name masajid by name during the time of the Prophet Muhammad. Alayhi salatu wasalam, there's a hadith of Abdullah ibn Umar, it's in Bukhari Muslim, Muwatta Imam Malik. You can name a masjid by the name of the people who live in the area where the masjid was built. So if you have masjid in Urukia, you can say Urukia State Masjid. Like this masjid we are in, you can say Aleku Wado Masjid. You can say that. But to say Deen, no Deen. It is dividing the Ummah. May Allah protect all of us. So don't join any group. وَلَوْ أَن تَعَدُّ عَلَىٰ أَصْلِهِ. It may not be difficult. This is what we are saying. Oh, Lele. You need so many things to live upon that you can only find especially where you are. If you go inside a city, the only Muslim presence you will find is Ansaruddin or Naqsa. Who has that experience? If you go deep inside the city, because Ansaruddin is very strong in the city. If you go inside the city, you only be finding Ansaruddin Masjid or Ansar. So if a Muslim dies there, if it's not Ansaruddin, if they don't bury it, what will he do? These kinds of things will compel you to want to join them. The Prophet says, don't join them because of them. Alayhi salatu wassalam. وَلَوْ أَن تَعَدُّ عَلَىٰ أَصْلِ شَجَرَةٍ حَتَّى يُدْرِكَكَ الْمَوْتِ. Even that means that you go and bite the root of a tree till death comes and catches you there. Don't join them. Ànábì ló sọ bẹ́ẹ̀. Ló ṣe gbà wá lẹ́nu. وَلَوْ أَن تَعَدُّ عَلَىٰ أَصْلِ شَجَرَةٍ حَتَّى يُدْرِكَكَ الْمَوْتِ وَأَنْتَ عَلَىٰ ذَلِكَ. Even if you bite on the root of a tree, don't join group. Meaning that no matter how much difficulty you may face, if you don't join the group, don't join the group. The point of reference in this hadith is what? تَلْزَمُوا جَمَاعَةَ الْمُسْلِمِينَ وَإِمَامًا. When there is fitna, what do? You stay where the Jama'atul Muslimin are and the Imams of the Muslims. Stay with the generality of the Muslims. With the generality. Don't join groups. Stay with the generality of the Muslims. May Allah protect all of us. Rawahu al-Bukhari wa Muslim. Al-Imam al-Bukhari and Muslim have both reported the hadith. وقد قال ابن عمر رضي الله عنهما. Abdullah ibn Umar had said that خطب معاوية قال, one day Muawiyah ibn Abi Sufyan, he was Amir at the time, he gave a sermon somewhere and then he said, من كان يريد أن يتكلم في هذا الأمر فليطلع لنا قرنه. من كان يريد أن يتكلم في هذا الأمر. Whoever wants to contest authority, because he was Amir at the time, Muawiyah. Whoever wants to contest the authority with me, فَلْيُطْلِعْ لَنَا قَرْنَهُ. Let him allow his, what's that called? Horn to emerge. Let his horn emerge from his forehead. Others amongst the ulama say what that means is that let him show off his face. Why? Because the horns are on the faces. So instead of saying let him show his face, he say let him show off horns on his face. Meaning that if he is so bold, let him come out. Radiyallahu anhu. Muawiyah said, فَلَا نَحْنُ أَحَقُّ بِهِ مِنْهُ وَمِنْ أَبِيهِ. فَلَا نَحْنُ أَحَقُّ بِهِ. We have more right to the rulership. Why? Why was he saying he has more right to rulership? Muawiyah ibn Abi Sufyan was a very, very learned person. He was mentioned to be from amongst those who used to write wahyu for the messenger. So because of knowledge, he was a person of deep thought and insight. Right from the time of the last stages in the Khilafah of Umar, then Uthman, the entirety of the Khilafah of Uthman was Amir over the entirety of Sham. So his knowledge is well known. His insight is known. His exposure was known. And these are the things that are required in a leader. So he said that we have knowledge, we have insight. If you think that you have more knowledge, okay, come out, let's see. If you think you have more insight than me, because it was in the time some of the people who come out and say, hey, why are you the leader? Why? The Khawarij were there. So he threw an open challenge. Radiyallahu anhu. قال حبيب بن مسلمة حبيب الروم. That is laqab. Habib ibn Maslama was a young companion of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. He was present on that occasion when Muawiyah ibn Abi Sufyan made that statement. So he said, فَهَلَّا أَجَبْتَهُ. He was referring to Abdullah ibn Umar. فَهَلَّا أَجَبْتَهُ. Will you not answer Muawiyah? Answer Muawiyah. Muawiyah said, radiyallahu anhu, we have knowledge, we have exposure, we are enlightened. We are the ones that are supposed to be the leader. If anybody thinks that he was more qualified than we are, let the person come out. Let's see. Habib ibn Maslama, who knew those people who were sitting down, and amongst them was Abdullah ibn Umar. He says, فَهَلَّا أَجَبْتَهُ. Will you not give him an answer? قال عبد الله بن عمر. Abdullah ibn Umar radiyallahu anhuma said, فَحَلَلْتُ حُبْوَتِي. حَلَلْتُ حُبْوَتِي. The hubwa is a kind of a rope you tie to your leg. when you sit such that your laps are touching your tummy. Yes, like that. Those days, the companions, the Arabs still do it today. In fact, I'm seeing a lot of people doing it. Those people who memorize Quran in the Prophet's Masjid in Madinah, young boys, you see them do this thing a lot. When they sit like that, they now tie their shimag, the red scarf on their head, they tie it between their knees and their back. They roll it round themselves. Can you picture this sitting? Yes. Now they tie the shimag, tie it round themselves, so that they are just sitting there. So فَحَلَّلْتُ حُبْوَتِ, I untied, Ibn Umar untied that and sat down very well. You understand it now? He said, رضي الله عنهما وَحَمَمْتُ أَنْ أَقُولُ, and I wanted to reply Muawiyah ibn Abi Sufyan, أَحَقُّ بِهَذَا الْأَمْرِ مِنْكَ مَنْ قَاتَلَكَ وَأَبَاكَ عَلَى الْإِسْلَامِ. Those who have more rights to you, to be leaders, مَنْ قَاتَلَكَ وَأَبَاكَ فِي الْإِسْلَامِ عَلَى الْإِسْلَامِ. Those who fought you and your father so that Islam will be established, they have more rights than you. Ulama say that means those who came into Islam long before you, they have more rights than you. If you have knowledge, you have this, you have. Some people came to this deen before you. They sacrificed more things in this religion before you. When you were a non-Muslim, you know Abu Sufyan, he was the leader of the Mushrikun in Ghazwatul Ahzab. Al-Ahzab, that Allah told us in Surah Al-Ahzab about Khandaq, the fifth of Ghazwatul Khandaq. Their leader was Abu Sufyan. At that time, Ibn Umar fought in the Ghazwa of Khandaq. At that time, Abu Sufyan was still a non-Muslim. Saying, I would have told him that. I wanted to say to him that those people who stood firm upon Islam, when you were fighting you and your father when you were non-Muslims, they have more rights than you to occupy the position of leadership. So two views. One view is the view of Muawiyah ibn Abi Sufyan. Those who are more rightful to the leadership are those who are more knowledgeable, more exposed. They have more civilization. In the view of Abdullah ibn Umar, those who have the better position to occupy leadership are who? Those who came as-sabiquna al-awwalun min al-muhajirin. Those who came earlier. So two different views regarding this matter. But Abdullah ibn Umar did not say his own. He says, فَهَمَمْتُ أَنْ أَقُولَ أَحَقُّ بِهَذَا الْأَمْرِ مِنْكَ مَنْ قَاتَلَكَ وَأَبَاكَ عَلَى الْإِسْلَامِ. Those who have a greater right to this issue, to leadership, than you, they are those who had fought you and your father while trying to establish Islam. Ibn Umar said, رضي الله عنهما, فَخَشِيتُ أَنْ أَقُولَ كَلِمَةً تُفَرِّقُ بَيْنَ الْجَمْعِ. I was afraid to say a word. That was what I would have said. But I did not say it. Why? I was afraid to say a word that would do what? تُفَرِّقُ الْجَمْعِ. So find your car. Ibn Umar. He said, I don't want to make a statement that will cause fitna. Ustaz, Fadilat Shaykh, when you speak, do you think about these things? Do you think about that? I should not say a statement that will cause fitna. When you write on Facebook, Fadilat Shaykh, do you think that what I'm going to write now will cause problems? فَخَشِيتُ أَنْ أَقُولَ كَلِمَةً تُفَرِّقُ الْجَمْعَ. This is Ibn Umar. I was afraid to say a word that will disconnect and divide the gathering, the generality of the Muslims. رضي الله عنهما وتسفك الدم. I don't want to make a statement that will cause سفك الدم, bloodshed. ويحمل على غير ذلك. That statement will be taken to mean other than what I wanted. Are you thinking like that, oh sir? You must not make a statement that will divide the people, that will cause bloodshed, that will be misunderstood. Don't say those who misunderstood it, that is their problem. You are the problem. Ibn Mas'ud radiyallahu anhu, he said, you do not tell the people something beyond their ability except that you will become a means of fitna to them. Don't be a means of fitna to the people. This is Ibn Umar. Look at his fitna. They're fitna already. Why do you make a statement that will cause fitna again? تفرق الجمع أو تفرق الجمع. Don't make a statement that will divide the generality of the people. وتسفك الدم. A statement that will lead to bloodshed. ويحمل على غير المراد. Don't make a statement that can be taken away from what you intend. Otherwise, I would have answered Muawiyah. This was common amongst the Muslims. When Uthman bin Affan himself was alive, he made Hajj with the people. And at Mina, where you make Salatul Qasr, HOS, where you making Salatul Qasr at Mina, now, Uthman bin Affan was observing his Salah complete 4 rakah. When the Prophet came, alayhi salatu wasalam, it was 2 rakah. But Uthman, out of juristic reasoning that perhaps the Prophet was a traveling person, was why he made it. Let me make 4 rakah. I'm a person from inside Makkah. This is explanation some of the scholars have given him. Uthman bin Affan made 4 rakah. They were companions, Abdurrahman ibn Auf, Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, Abdullah ibn Abbas. They were there, they made 4 raka'at with Uthman. People went to Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, are you making 4 raka'at with Uthman? What did he say? Al-Khilaf Shar. Masjidaka, if I don't make those 2 raka'at now, trouble will start. What did Abdurrahman ibn Auf say? He said, let's not even discuss this matter. Because we have amongst us here people who cannot understand what we are saying. When we get back to Medina, the companions were conscious about doing something that will cause division amongst the people. Ya Fadilat al-Shaykh, if you are talking on Facebook, be careful what you say. Don't say something to farriqul jam'. وَتُحْمَلُ عَلَى غَيْرِ الْمُرَادِ. Don't say something that will cause disaffection amongst the people and that will be understood with other than what you mean. That it may be understood in other than what you mean is a sufficient reason for you to keep quiet. Some people say, if we keep quiet, the truth will be lost. It is not in every circumstance. This truth, this position of Ibn Umar, is it lost? Allah has preserved it from then till today. Bil Asanid al-Sahiha, this hadith we are reading of Ibn Umar is occurred in Sahih al-Bukhari. In Kitab al-Maghazi. The truth will not be lost. But be sure that you don't disconnect amongst the Muslims. You don't cause a disaffection amongst the Muslims with your statement. May Allah protect all of us. That is the point of reference in this hadith. فَخَشِيتُ أَنْ أَقُولَ كَلِمَةً تُفَرِّقُ بَيْنَ الْجَمْعِ وَتَسْفِكُ الدَّمَعِ وَيُحْمَلُ عَنِّي غَيْرُ ذَلِكَ. I will be misunderstood. Other than what I intended will be said. فَذَكَرْتُ مَا أَعَدَّ اللَّهُ فِي الْجِنَانِ. I remembered what Allah has promised me inside Al-Jannah. What Allah has preserved for us in Al-Jannah. I remember this. So it made me, all of these things made me to stop talking when I would have talked. قال Habib ibn Maslama, he said radiyallahu anhu, Hufizta wa usimta. Hufizta, you have been protected. Wa usimta, you have been preserved. Hufizta, Allah Mama Shoya, it would have really caused fitna. Wa usimta, you have been preserved. Your statement will really have caused a trouble. Allah guided you. Allah protected you, Ibn Umar. So let us take a cue from this. Don't make a statement during fitna that will further cause fitan, that will divide the generality of the Muslims. Preserve the honor of the people. Don't say things that when you say, yes, you may be right, Ibn Umar was right. How do we know he was right? When Umar radiallahu anhu was pushing forward Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, he was pushing him forward because of the virtue that he was from among the first entrants. And then Umar, and then Uthman, these were the first persons, and then Ali, the first young boy. So you see, it has always been about I want to call for Generality. So but Muawiyah was looking at it from another angle. If Umar would have confronted him by saying, no, when I make a statement now, trouble will start. Trouble will say, you see, what Ibn Umar said is correct. Oh yeah, Muawiyah, come out, we don't want you, and then trouble starts. How many times have we said, you want to insist upon a particular matter and you are dividing the people and causing enmity amongst the people? Oh, Rodadan. May Allah protect us all. The point of reference here is that during fitna, stay with the group of the Muslims, with the generality of the Muslims. And that also means don't make a statement that will divide the generality of the Muslims. Inshallah, we'll continue from here in our next class. These two hadiths are sufficient for us today. May Allah make it a means of benefit for all of us. If we have one or two questions, we can ask. Naam. Amin wa ilayk. Jahiliyyah. Al-Amma. Huzaifa was talking about the Arabs. So we are a people, we didn't know anything. But in other parts of the world, there are people who have some sort of revelation. Even in Medina, there were Arabs, there were Jews there. But it was not their consideration. We Arabs, we didn't know anything. So, and then sometimes what is prevalent takes the prevailing rule. Like the khair الذي فيه دخن. It was khair, we call it khair, even though there is dakhan inside it. So there may be some people who had some sort of knowledge somehow because they have traveled, but they will be less than 3 or 4. Even Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, lam yakun ala shirk, he was not upon shirk. And Uthman bin Affan, he was mentioned also not to be upon shirk ever. So there will be a few people. It's like when you read the Quran, say that the Arabs were qawmun ummiyun. Huwa alladhi ba'atha fil ummiyin. The people who can't read what is written down. It does not mean that all of them. There were 1, 2, few people who could still read, but the large majority could not read. So the large majority never knew anything about any guidance from heaven amongst the Arabs. So that's Jahiliyatun Ammatun. Do you understand? Go to Kitab Al-Tawheed. The book has been renamed and republished. Aqidat Al-Tawheed by Shaykh Sulayman Ar-Ruhayli. He discussed Al-Jahiliyyah. You see all these descriptions about Jahiliyyah, Bismillah, with some sort of a detail inside it. Allahu Akbar. I hope I answered your question. Amin wa. Naam. If you find yourself amongst a large group of people who are not upon the Sunnah, should you keep quiet? If you are very, very knowledgeable, you can start gradually with their leader, because they are the ones in whose hands the people's control are. Gradually, if the very knowledgeable person, you can start to engage their deviations one after the other. Otherwise, avoid that area completely. Go away from the area, go and stay in another place. If you are not a very, very knowledgeable person, go away from the area, so that the wind that has blown them will not blow you. Because At-Tibyān naqala, people's innate behavior, it transmits. وَالصَّاحِبُ صَاحِبٌ, your friend, he can take you along what he is upon. So if you continue to stay amongst them, all these things can begin to happen, and you just find out that a person will be thinking the way they are thinking. So avoid there. Leave the community. But if you are very, very knowledgeable, you can begin to engage them one after the other. But in that, be very reasonable. Protect your house too, so that they don't infiltrate your children and your wife. You have a greater right over them than those people in the masjid. May Allah protect all of us. This question will take our time. Alaykum salam. Naam. 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 No, I will not talk about it. Alaykum salam. If a teacher is holding a stand, how does that view about that person affect that student's guidance or misguidance? If you answer, I will answer. If you don't answer, I will answer. The talk is long. Yorùbá ṣe tí ẹ máa fẹ́ kájọ níjọ́ tí owó tí ẹ níjọ́ tí ẹ máa fẹ́ kájọ tí ò tí ì kàn án nìfẹ́ pa bọ́n ṣe máa ń pa á ní o. Tí ẹ máa fẹ́ jogún tí kì í ṣe èèyàn. Don't bother yourself about things like that. The scholars have never been like that. Since the history of Islam, scholars have ever been like that. One of them may hold a view about somebody, the other one holds another view about it. Scholars been like that. Someone has a view, this one is a trustworthy reporter of hadith, this one is a non-trustworthy reporter of hadith. Always been like that. So that's not one reason why this man is not. People like Ikrim al-Barbari, if you read about him, you'll be surprised. Al-Imam Malik would refer to Al-Imam Muhammad ibn Ishaq ibn Yasar, Sahib al-Magazi. You know what he calls him? Kazzab. Malik, he will refer to Ibn Ishaq as Kazzab. Ibn Ishaq, the author of Sirah. Malik is of a Kazzab. Did you read the Sirah of Ibn Ishaq or not? You didn't read Sirah of Ibn Ishaq. It means you have not read Sirah from the Asl. Ibn Ishaq. You know what ulama, the scholars of hadith, refer to him as huwa imamun fil magazi. He's an imam when it comes to the issues of the war and the rulings regarding the war, the military campaigns of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Malik said, rahimahullah, Imamu Dar al-Hijrah, Kazzab. How do you, should we read Sirah or not? Because things like this are many in the Ummah. If you want to insist that you must accept that Muhammad ibn Ishaq ibn Yasar is Kazzab, as Al-Imam Malik said, you cause a lot of trouble. So the next question would be, why did Malik refer to him as Kazzab? Aha, you see now. Is it true that he was Kazzab? Or other scholars say something else about him? His imama in Magazi, in Fiqh Al-Magazi, in Ahadith Al-Magazi, is not shaken at all. So how do you handle the situation? So the same thing applies in our own time. The same thing applies in our own time. Rulings regarding people have always been there. Someone can rule like this because it is ijtihad. If you think that somebody is like this, it's ijtihad you are making. Especially if the asl of the person is sunnah. If the asl of this person is sunnah, the basic thing that he grew up upon was sunnah, if you want to expel him from the dairah of sunnah, you must be very clear and firm. So when the person says, no, he's not a person of sunnah, they expel him. The other ones, others among the scholars say, no, he's a person of sunnah. How do you handle it? If Shaykh Ibn al-Uthaymeen rejects that a person is from the people of innovation, and another Shaykh, perhaps well known, I'm just giving an example, also says this person is from a person of innovation, will you take from Shaykh Ibn al-Uthaymeen so that maybe that person's idea can affect Shaykh Uthaymeen? Is that what you will say? These issues are bigger than that. They are bigger than the way many young people now take them. Let me stop with this after that I will cite regarding Al-Imam Shafi'i. Al-Imam Yahya ibn Ma'in, he does not see Shafi'i as anything. Shafi'i, Muhammad ibn Idris, Al-Muttalib, he is the teacher of Ahmad bin Hanbal. When Al-Imam Ahmad was sitting with Yahya ibn Ma'in, he stood up. Al-Imam Ibn al-Jawzi mentioned this in Manaqib Al-Imam Ahmad. He stood up and went to meet his teacher. I want to power but stood up. Ahmad, he went to Sham and he saw him off. When he returned, Yahya ibn Ma'in is Imam fil Jarh wa Ta'dil. He was asking Ahmad, why? What are you looking for? You know what Ahmad said to him? Ma ra'at aynaka misla. You have never seen the kind of Shafi before. How do you take this difference in their view regarding Imam Shafi? The scholars have always been differing regarding how they view people in the matter. But when the person is originally from amongst the people of the Sunnah, the matter should be a bit lesser. And if you are not able to study to know for yourself which position to take, leave the matter alone. Your shahadatan, they are not dependent on it. That's why you are finding maybe the person's thinking may be now affected by the other person's thinking. You start connecting one thing, maybe disturbing yourself. Don't disturb yourself. If the person was originally from among the people of Sunnah, and then the scholars are divided, you should be more careful. You should be more careful. Be relaxed on it. You should be more careful in what and how you handle that kind of a situation. Otherwise, you will want to be compelling some of the people to definitely come under the ijtihad of others. And that's wrong in itself. It is from the aspect of extremism. You want to say no. Shaykh Lagbaja says that so-so person has committed errors in innovation. Another Shaykh says no, he's not upon innovation. If you say, look here, if you don't agree this position that Shaykh says, you are this. If you say that, it's extremism. Is it mujawazatul hajj, going beyond bounds? It does not mean that you cannot accept that first Sheikh's view if it is convincing to you. But you cannot compel everybody to follow you and your Sheikh. Oh, you're clear. You can't compel everybody to go in see how far me from like God. It was if we want to do that in this ummah, which of the ai*imma are we going to give preference to? Malik or Abu Hanifa, because they have always been differing upon issues. So which one should we insist that everybody must be? You must be Malik, you. Because me, I like Imam Malik or Shafi. No, we can't do that. So on this kind of an issue, a person is essentially from the person of Sunnah. The scholars are divided regarding the rulings regarding him. Leave it like that. If you have the knowledge that is enough for you to know where to stay, employ that knowledge, stay somewhere. But you cannot compel everybody to stay where you are. Is it clear? You cannot compel ilzam. You cannot make ilzam everybody must accept your view regarding that person. You can't do that. You can accept it if it is clear and convincing to you. But you cannot say everybody must accept it. Al-Imam Malik said, rahimahullah, مَا مِنَّا إِلَّا يُؤْخَذُ مِنْ قَوْلِهِ وَيُرَدْ. Everybody's statements can be taken or accepted. So if they don't take your statement to say, no scholar will say that. So and then this matter, sometimes the young people got busy with it beyond the knowledge that under which it is based. They have not learned it sufficiently enough. That is a part of the problem. So they take it so strongly at it. When I ask the question, how does that affect you? You something like, maybe that person will be kind of start speaking grammar. So let's say where the people have faith. You can't compare. Nobody can compel anybody to take a view that is ijtihadi from one alim. You can't. Oh, such a afani of women. Afani no son. The woman came to us and said, "But afani oh, he but afani. It's all she guns do a pay from a show that." May Allah protect all of us. So let's not be insistent upon. There are so many issues like this. So many issues. You can't compel anybody to take your view. If it is a matter like Istihadiyya, leave it as Istihadiyya. Like Shaykh Al-Albani will say, rahimahullah, Kul kalimataka thumma amshi. Sọ̀rọ̀ tiẹ̀ kó kú mẹ́. Sọ tiẹ̀ kó kú mẹ́. Ìwọ ló fẹ́ wá mú àwọn èèyàn wà máa ọ̀rọ̀ yẹn tí wọ́n lé tí wọ́n gbọ́dọ̀ gbà tiẹ̀ by force. This is tashaddud, and it is not from the Sunnah. Allahu Alam. I think we can stop here, ikhwa. Subhanaka Allahumma bihamdik. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.